So I've been busy this year creating a couple more garden beds to get some of my trees out of their containers and into open ground. Let's take a look. Beginning with this privet, which had effectively stopped growing in the pot, so I've stuck it in the ground to try and kickstart it back into life. Still not grown though. This hawthorn, I could quite happily have just put it into a bonsai pot, but I want to really push for a good ramification. Likewise with this pine, this was actually in a mica pot, but I want to increase the branching. More branching just gives you more options when you come to style the tree. And this particular species is quite well known for its ability to backbud. And this trident maple, I had the roots tied over a rock and stuck it in a large plastic container. It wasn't looking too clever, but since it's been in the ground, guess what? It's absolutely thriving. And as the tree grows, we're going to see the roots really fuse onto that rock. This is a hawthorn that I shaped right from the start, from when it was a very young plant. So it's in the ground now to help thicken it up. The trunk and the branches were wired from very early on, so we've now got some nice little details in the tree. Something that sometimes gets overlooked with bonsai. This mountain maple has been planted out to bring it on because I want to propagate it. The reason being it has particularly nice autumn colours. This hawthorn clump is a bunch of seedlings that are stuck together in the hope that they'll fuse at the base. Likewise with this pyracantha clump, just a few cuttings that are stuck together and I'm hoping that the roots actually fuse together. This Fuji cherry, it flowered really well every year, but it just refused to grow any new shoots. And it's hard to develop a tree that doesn't really grow anything, so it's in the ground to try and bring it along a bit. A European hornbeam that I got as hedging material from a garden centre. It felt like it lacked a branch on the right hand side, so I've actually tried to approach graft a branch the first time trying anything like that. Looks a bit messy, but I'm actually quite confident it'll take. A wee Japanese quince over a rock that I had from a cutting. So it looked a bit weedy in its pot, so I put it in the ground just to try and bulk it up a little. And I may actually chop the trunk right back. This cotoneaster is another one that had effectively just stopped growing in its pot. So, like I said, it's hard to develop a tree that's actively stopped growing. That wee hawthorn, a plant that was originally growing at the top of an old wall. And with this mugo pine, the aim is to create a really dense crown of foliage. I took the highly unusual step of taking a piece of Yamadori material and planting it back into the ground. This is a Sabina juniper that I've had for some years now. This tree was in very poor health at one point and I just didn't know what to do. Since putting it in the ground, it's become much healthier. I mean, look at those extensions. It's a really vibrant green colour and I've never seen this tree looking so healthy. Here's a hawthorn, and wait till you see this. It started as a tiny seedling. That's it going into the ground. And here's how large it's growing, and that's after being trimmed back once. Berberis from a cutting, and that's thriving. Blackthorn, also super vigorous. And that's just a wee self-seeded birch. It's been trimmed back twice already, but is still pushing extensions. So you see 6 bamboo canes here, and each one is where there's a little pine seedling, a Scots pine seedling growing. Each of these were grown from seed. This crabapple has a big ugly surface root system, so probably I'd air layer or just cut off the top, but interestingly enough it's actually started to grow shoots directly from that root base, so that could develop into something interesting. Here is our big alder. It's got a really nice trunk and surface root structure, and I'm basically aiming to just coppice this tree indefinitely to bring in some character to the trunk. Next to it is this juniper, a bargain basement purchase. You can see that I've tied the trunk around a stick, and the aim is to create a sherry once the trunk becomes thick enough. Likewise, I tried to create some twisting movement in the trunk of this Siberian elm, and that's thickened up really nicely and is actually starting to get some lovely rough bark. And just as an added bonus, I thought I'd include some footage of some of the lovely street art that I saw when I was on holiday in Portugal recently. I thought it was nice and colourful, so I thought I would just include it. I think that about wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed that little update, and as always, thanks for watching.